You are not reading these words by accident, and you are not standing where you stand by coincidence. There is a summons in the air that your spirit has recognized before your mind could explain it. Long before you found language for your questions, purpose was already searching for you. This moment is not random, and your life is not ordinary. There has always been a separating line drawn around your journey, a quiet distinction that set you apart even when you tried to blend in. Many times you felt delayed, overlooked, misunderstood, or stretched beyond comfort, yet something within you kept insisting that the story was not finished. That insistence is the echo of a calling that has never been revoked. Scripture affirms that before formation was visible, knowledge and intention were already present. Jeremiah 1:5. The truth alone dismantles the lie that you are late or unqualified. An upgrade does not begin with applause, it often begins with pressure. The process that prepares a life for greater capacity rarely looks like favor while it is happening. Think of how often preparation is hidden in obscurity, how growth occurs underground before it ever breaks the surface. Many were called, but few were willing to endure the shaping that calling demands. Matthew 22:14. You have endured seasons that taught you endurance. You have survived losses that refined your discernment. You have carried responsibilities that matured you earlier than expected. None of this was wasted. Every closed door trained your hearing. Every delay strengthened your patience. Every misunderstanding clarified your identity. What felt like resistance was often redirection, and what felt like silence was instruction. There is a difference between being chosen and feeling chosen. Feeling chosen depends on circumstances aligning, but being chosen rests on promise. Promise does not expire when conditions change. It is written that gifts and callings are without regret or reversal. Romans 11:29. That means the assignment on your life remains intact even when confidence wavered. You may have questioned yourself, but the calling never questioned you. You may have paused, but purpose never moved. You may have been wounded by those who could not recognize what you carried, yet even that pain became a teacher. Scripture shows again and again that rejection often precedes elevation, as seen in the life of the shepherd who became king after years of being overlooked. 1 Samuel 16, 1 Samuel 17. An upgrade requires consent. Nothing sacred is forced. You are invited to agree with what has already been decided about you. Acceptance is not arrogance, it is alignment. When you refuse to accept what is being released over your life, you live beneath your provision. Many wander in cycles because they resist the very next level prepared for them. The call to accept is a call to trust. Trust means letting go of the version of yourself that survived yesterday so you can step into the version equipped for tomorrow. Transformation demands surrender, not perfection. Romans 12:2. You are not being asked to be flawless, you are being asked to be willing. Look at how often Scripture highlights transitions marked by fear. A leader stood before an uncrossable boundary until instruction came to move forward despite the waters ahead. Joshua 1:9. Courage was not the absence of fear, it was obedience in the presence of it. The same courage is being stirred within you now. You may sense unfamiliar territory ahead, responsibilities that stretch your faith, influence that requires deeper humility. Growth will cost you familiarity. Elevation will demand separation. Yet every step forward is supported by provision already arranged, even if not yet visible. Hebrews 11:1. An upgrade changes how you see yourself and how you steward what is entrusted to you. You can no longer afford to speak the language of limitation when expansion has been authorized. Words carry alignment. Life and death are carried in speech. Proverbs 18:21. What you repeatedly declare trains your heart either toward expectation or toward retreat. If you continue to rehearse defeat, you resist advancement. If you agree with promise, you position yourself to receive. Agreement is powerful because it creates harmony between belief and action. When alignment occurs, momentum follows. Consider how often Scripture speaks of renewal rather than replacement. The vessel was not discarded, it was reshaped. Jeremiah 18:1-6. You are not being erased, you are being refined. What is being upgraded is not your worth, but your capacity. Capacity determines how much responsibility, influence, and blessing you can sustain without collapse. Increase without capacity leads to destruction. That is why preparation has been intentional. You were taught restraint before abundance. You learned faithfulness before visibility. You practiced obedience before authority. These were not delays, they were safeguards. There is also an upgrade in discernment happening within you. What once distracted you no longer satisfies. What once appealed to your emotions now fails to hold your attention. This is not boredom, it is maturity. As discernment sharpens, tolerance for misalignment decreases. Hebrews 5:14. You are learning to recognize what drains you versus what develops you. You are becoming selective, not selfish. This selectivity protects the assignment on your life. Not everyone is permitted access to every season of you. Even Scripture records moments when crowds were left behind, so miracles could occur in more intimate settings. Mark 5:37. Opposition often increases before transition becomes visible. Resistance does not always mean you are wrong. Sometimes it confirms you are moving correctly. Darkness reacts when light advances, yet you are not called to fight every battle. You are called to stand firm. Ephesians 6:13. Rest is part of the upgrade. Trusting that provision does not depend solely on your effort releases you from exhaustion. There is a strength available that is renewed, not depleted, when you wait with expectation. Isaiah 40:31. Waiting here does not mean inactivity, it means confidence without panic. The upgrade also affects how you view failure. What once felt final now becomes instructional. There is no wasted lesson for a willing heart. Even setbacks become stepping stones when interpreted through faith. Genesis 5:20. You are learning to extract wisdom rather than shame from your past. Shame paralyzes, wisdom propels. When you release shame, clarity returns. When clarity returns, direction sharpens. Direction leads to decisive action, and decisive action opens doors previously unseen. You may notice a growing discomfort with remaining silent about what you believe. Boldly. SS is being cultivated, not for argument but for clarity. You are becoming more secure in truth, less dependent on approval. This is necessary for the next phase. Those entrusted with influence must be anchored internally. Approval is unstable, conviction is steady. Galatians 1:10. As conviction deepens, peace increases even when circumstances remain uncertain. Peace becomes an indicator of alignment rather than ease. Philippians 4:7. An upgrade also redefines relationships. Some connections were seasonal and their purpose has been fulfilled. Releasing them is not betrayal, it is obedience. New alignments will require a new version of you. Scripture shows that even trusted companions did not follow into every assignment. Acts 15:39. Separation does not negate love, it honors direction. You are permitted to grow beyond environments that once sustained you. Gratitude for the past does not require permanence in it. As you accept this upgrade, resistance within you may surface. Old narratives may argue that you are not ready, not capable, not worthy. Those narratives are familiar, but not authoritative. Authority comes from promise, not from past performance. 2 Corinthians 3:5. Readiness is often revealed in obedience, not in confidence. You step forward, and strength meets you there. Provision often appears after movement, not before. Exodus 14:15-16. This is how trust is built. The upgrade invites you into deeper dependence, not independence. Self-sufficiency may appear strong, but reliance on provision beyond yourself produces resilience. You are learning to release control without losing responsibility. This balance creates stability. When outcomes are entrusted rather than forced, anxiety loses its grip. Trust becomes an anchor, steadying you amid change. Proverbs 3:5-6. There is also an upgrade in vision. What once seemed sufficient now feels small. This is not ingratitude, it is expansion. Vision stretches to match assignment. Without vision, direction blurs. Habakkuk 2:2. You are being invited to see further, plan wiser, and believe bigger. Vision does not negate practicality, it informs it. When vision is clear, steps become intentional. When steps are intentional, progress becomes consistent. You may sense urgency paired with patience. This tension is purposeful. Urgency keeps you attentive, patience keeps you grounded. Together they produce perseverance. James 1:2-4. You are not rushing, you are responding. You are not waiting aimlessly, you are preparing deliberately. Every small act of obedience compounds into significant impact over time. This upgrade is not merely personal, it is generational. What you choose to accept now influences those connected to you. Scripture records households transformed through the obedience of one. Acts 16:31. Your agreement with this moment creates pathways for others. Influence flows through example before it flows through words. Consistency will speak louder than declarations. As you star on the edge of this next phase, remember that acceptance is daily, not once. Each morning offers an opportunity to align again, to choose trust again, to step forward again. Grace is renewed daily, matching each step with sufficient strength. Lamentations 3:22-23. You are not required to carry tomorrow today. Today's obedience is enough for today. The rhythm of your life is changing. What sustained you before may not sustain you now. New disciplines are forming, new priorities emerging, new sensitivities awakening. This is evidence of growth. Growth may feel uncomfortable, but stagnation is far more dangerous. You were not created to remain the same. You were designed for continual renewal, strength to strength, clarity to clarity. Psalm 84:7. As this upgrade unfolds, you will recognize moments of confirmation, quiet assurances, timely words, unexpected provision. These are not coincidences, they are markers along the path. Let them strengthen your resolve rather than replace your faith. Faith remains the foundation, even when confirmation follows. Hebrews 11:6. There is still more unfolding, more clarity approaching, more responsibility preparing to meet you. You are stepping into a season where alignment will matter more than appearance, obedience more than explanation, faithfulness more than speed. Accepting this upgrade means releasing the need to fully understand before you move. Understanding often follows obedience, not the other way around. Proverbs 4:18. And as you continue forward, attentive and willing, you will find that what once felt intimidating now feels purposeful. What once felt heavy now feels meaningful, and what once felt distant now feels within reach as you continue to walk, listen, and agree. Even when the path ahead is still unfolding and the next instruction has not yet fully been spoken, but is already drawing nearer with each step you take toward what has been prepared for you since the beginning of your journey, and even now is continuing to shape you into the one who can carry what is coming next without losing the humility, faith, and endurance that brought you this far and is still at work within you as you remain open and responsive to the unfolding call that continues to move you forward into what awaits just ahead and beyond the horizon, where your willingness will again be required as the story keeps moving forward without pause and without retreat, as you continue to stand ready to receive and to walk into what is being released next, as the journey continues without stopping and without turning back into what has already been outgrown and left behind, as you keep moving forward into the unfolding purpose that is still expanding before you and within you, as you remain attentive and prepared to step again when the moment arrives and the next season begins to open before you in ways you are only just beginning to perceive, as you remain aligned and ready to continue forward into the unfolding path that is still being revealed moment by moment without yet reaching its end. The unfolding path does not announce itself loudly. It reveals itself through consistent invitations to trust deeper than before. Each step forward recalibrates your inner posture, teaching you how to listen beyond noise and respond beyond fear. What is being cultivated now is spiritual sensitivity, the ability to discern timing as much as direction. Scripture speaks of those who understood the times and knew what to do. 1 Chronicles 12:32, and that same wisdom is being nurtured within you. You are learning that timing is not delay but precision, not hesitation but alignment. When timing aligns, effort multiplies. There will be moments when the upgrade feels heavier than expected, when responsibility presses against your confidence. In those moments, remember that strength is not sourced from self-reliance, but from reliance on provision beyond yourself. It is written that power is perfected in weakness, not denied by it. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Weakness does not disqualify. It creates space for strength that is not manufactured. When you stop trying to prove capacity, you discover capacity has already been supplied. Your past seasons trained you to survive, but this season is training you to steward. Survival asks how to endure. Stewardship asks how to manage increase. Increase is not only measured in resources but in influence, accountability, and responsibility. Faithfulness in little prepared you for faithfulness in much. Luke 16:10. This progression is intentional. You were never meant to leap unprepared into expansion. Every test refined your character so that success would not distort it. You may notice that your prayers are shifting. Requests are becoming conversations. Questions are becoming alignment. Desperation is giving way to confidence. This is evidence of relationship maturing into partnership. When partnership forms, fear diminishes. You are no longer pleading for permission. You are listening for instruction. Instruction implies trust. Trust implies readiness. There will be moments when familiar strategies no longer produce familiar results. What worked before may not work now. This is not failure, it is invitation. New levels require new methods. Even in Scripture, manna was not provided indefinitely. Seasons changed and provision changed with them, Joshua 5:12. Holding on to old methods in new seasons restricts growth. Flexibility becomes essential. Obedience now may look different than obedience then, but its essence remains the same. As you move forward, opposition may attempt to resurrect old identities. Voices from the past may try to define you by previous limitations. Resist the urge to defend yourself against outdated perceptions. Your life speaks louder than explanations. Silence, when rooted in confidence, becomes powerful. Even Scripture records moments when no response was given to accusation because alignment was already secure. Isaiah 53:7. Not Eve. Every challenge requires engagement. Discernment will tell you when to speak and when to move quietly. This upgrade also brings clarity about boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They determine what enters and what exits your life. Without boundaries, growth becomes vulnerable. Scripture affirms wisdom in guarding the heart, for it influences every direction of life. Proverbs 4:23. Guarding does not mean closing off, it means stewarding access. As responsibility increases, boundaries must strengthen accordingly. You may feel drawn toward deeper solitude at times. This is not withdrawal, it is recalibration. Solitude creates space for renewal and clarity. Many pivotal moments in Scripture occurred away from crowds, in quiet places where instruction could be heard clearly. Mark 1:35. Solitude sharpens focus. Focus sustains momentum. Momentum propels movement forward. The upgrade you are accepting does not erase uncertainty. It teaches you how to move with it. Certainty is not always granted, but assurance is. Assurance rests in promise rather than prediction. It is written that steps are ordered even when the full path is not revealed. Psalm 37:23. Order does not require visibility, it requires trust. Trust transforms uncertainty into expectation. You are also learning to release the need for immediate validation. Validation often comes after obedience, not before. Many labored unseen before recognition followed. Hebrews 11. Their faith was credited with applause. Applause fades, purpose remains. When your motivation shifts from recognition to obedience, endurance strengthens. Endurance outlasts seasons. This season invites you to refine how you handle disappointment. Disappointment is not the opposite of faith. Unresolved disappointment is. Faith processes disappointment without surrendering expectation. Even lament has a place in faith when it leads back to trust. Psalm 13. Processing disappointment. Honesty prevents bitterness. Bitterness clouds discernment. Clarity returns when surrender replaces resentment. You may find that your tolerance for compromise is diminishing. What once seemed harmless now feels heavy. This sensitivity is part of the upgrade. Compromise dilutes clarity. Small concessions can slowly redirect purpose. Scripture encourages walking blamelessly, not perfectly, but intentionally. Psalm 15. Intentional living preserves direction. As influence increases, humility must deepen. Humility is not self-neglect, it is accurate self-assessment. It recognizes source without denying responsibility. Scripture reminds that promotion does not come from human effort alone. Psalm 75:6-7. Remembering source preserves gratitude. Gratitude sustains humility. Humility sustains growth. You are also learning to wait without stagnating. Waiting now involves preparation, not passivity. While waiting, you are sharpening skills, strengthening character, clarifying vision. Even those anointed waited through seasons of development before public fulfillment. David in 1 Samuel, Moses in Exodus. Waiting prepared them to carry what was promised. There will be moments when you must choose obedience over comfort. Comfort preserves the familiar. Obedience expands the possible. Expansion often feels risky because it requires release. Release feels like loss until replacement appears. Replacement always comes with increase, though not always immediately visible. John 12:24. Seeds must be released to multiply. Your internal dialogue is being refined. Self-talk influences faith more than circumstances. Rehearsing promise strengthens courage. Rehearsing fear weakens resolve. Scripture urges renewing the mind continually. Romans 12:2. Renewal is not a one-time event, it is a daily practice. Each renewal aligns perspective with truth. You may sense an invitation to forgive more deeply. Forgiveness frees capacity. Unforgiveness consumes energy meant for growth. Releasing others does not excuse harm, it releases you from carrying it. Scripture emphasizes forgiveness as a pathway to freedom, not obligation. Ephesians 4:32. Freedom expands capacity for joy and peace. This upgrade is also teaching you how to celebrate progress without comparison. Comparison distracts from calling. Calling is personal, not competitive. Scripture reminds that each has a distinct measure and assignment. 1 Corinthians 12. Celebrating others does not diminish your own path. It strengthens community. As clarity increases, distractions lose power. What once demanded attention now fades. This narrowing focus is purposeful. Focus amplifies effectiveness. Effectiveness multiplies impact. Impact fulfills assignment. Scripture encourages running with endurance, laying aside what hinders. Hebrews 12:1. Letting go is as important as moving forward. You may notice that faith is becoming more practical, less abstract. Belief is translating into action. Action reveals belief. Faith without movement remains theoretical. James 2:17. Movement, even small, activates provision. Provision confirms direction. This season will test consistency more than intensity. Intensity sparks beginnings. Consistency sustains progress. Daily obedience builds lasting fruit. Scripture values faithfulness over spectacle. Matthew 5:21. Quiet consistency often produces the most enduring results. There will be times when silence feels heavy. Silence is not absence, it is preparation. During silence, roots deepen. Deep roots sustain growth during storms. Scripture speaks of being rooted and established. Colossians 2:7. Establishment precedes expansion. You are learning to trust process without idolizing outcome. Outcome matters, but process shapes. Focusing solely on outcome breeds impatience. Honoring process cultivates endurance. Endurance produces maturity. James 1:4. Maturity sustains increase. As you continue forward, expect moments of joy that arrive unexpectedly. Joy becomes strength, not reward. Nehemiah 8:10. Strength enables perseverance. Perseverance fulfills purpose. There will be moments when old fears attempt to resurface. Fear does not disappear entirely, it loses authority. Courage is practiced, not assumed. Scripture repeatedly commands courage, not because fear is absent, but because obedience matters more. Deuteronomy 31:6. Courage grows through repeated choice. You are becoming more attentive to inner conviction. Conviction guides gently but firmly. Ignoring it dulls sensitivity. Honoring it sharpens discernment. Scripture describes being led internally rather than externally. Romans 8:14. Internal guidance produces stability. This upgrade also changes how you measure success. Success becomes alignment rather than accumulation. Alignment produces peace even amid effort. Peace confirms direction. Colossians 3:15. When peace withdraws, reevaluation becomes necessary. You may feel a renewed sense of responsibility for your choices. Freedom and responsibility grow together. Increased freedom requires increased wisdom. Wisdom directs freedom productively. Scripture urges asking for wisdom without hesitation. James 1:5. Wisdom will be given generously. As seasons shift, gratitude anchors you. Gratitude reminds you of progress already made. Remembering past faithfulness strengthens present trust. Psalm 7:11. Memory becomes fuel for hope. There is still more unfolding, more refining, more strengthening ahead. The path continues, inviting attentiveness rather than urgent. Sigh, faith rather than fear, obedience rather than certainty. Each step forward prepares you for the next invitation, the next responsibility, the next expansion that has already been prepared, but will only be revealed as you continue walking, listening, agreeing, and responding in rhythm with what is being formed within you and around you as the journey moves forward without pause and without finality, continuing to unfold layer by layer, season by season, as you remain willing, attentive, and aligned, ready to take the next step when it appears, knowing that each step reveals more of what has been waiting ahead and within, and that the process itself continues to shape you for what is still to come, as the story keeps moving forward into what has not yet been fully seen, but is already being prepared for you as you remain steady and open and continue onward into the unfolding purpose that has not yet reached its end and will continue to expand as long as you keep walking forward. As you continue walking, you will begin to notice that resistance no longer startles you the way it once did. What once threatened your confidence now simply signals transition. Resistance becomes a marker rather than a warning, an indicator that movement is occurring beneath the surface. You are learning not to retreat at the first sign of difficulty, but to listen more closely for instruction. Instruction often arrives quietly, requiring attentiveness rather than urgency. Scripture reminds that dance can come as a still, gentle voice rather than dramatic intervention. 1 Kings 19:12, and this teaches you to value discernment over impulse. There will be days when progress feels invisible. On those days, remember that growth is not always measurable by external results. Roots expand before branches do. Depth develops before display. Scripture consistently affirms hidden work before visible manifestation. Matthew 6:6. When nothing seems to be happening outwardly, something is often strengthening inwardly. Trusting this unseen process builds resilience, anchoring you when immediate outcomes are absent. You are being trained to respond rather than react. Reaction is driven by emotion. Response is guided by conviction. Conviction holds steady even when emotions fluctuate. This steadiness is essential for sustaining growth. Scripture teaches self-control as a fruit of spiritual maturity. Galatians 5:22-23. Self-control is not suppression, it is alignment. Alignment allows you to act intentionally rather than impulsively. As clarity increases, you may feel less inclined to explain yourself. Explanation seeks understanding, obedience seeks alignment. Not every season requires explanation. Some seasons require movement. Scripture records moments when obedience preceded understanding, and understanding followed obedience. John 13:7. You are learning that peace often comes not from knowing everything, but from trusting enough to move forward. Your capacity for patience is being stretched. Patience does not mean tolerance for stagnation. It means endurance through process. Endurance refines character, and character strengthens hope. Romans 5:3-4. Hope anchored in promise does not disappoint. This hope sustains you when outcomes remain unseen, reinforcing your commitment to continue. You may observe that your priorities are shifting. What once dominated your attention now feels secondary. This reordering reflects internal alignment. Scripture speaks of seeking first what truly matters, trusting that provision follows. Matthew 6:33. When priorities align, anxiety diminishes, focus sharpens, energy is stewarded wisely. This season is also refining how you handle success. Success can be as formative as struggle. Without humility, success becomes destabilizing. Humility preserves perspective. Scripture cautions against forgetting source during increase. Deuteronomy 8:11-18. Remembering source anchors gratitude and prevents entitlement. Gratitude keeps you grounded even as influence grows. You are learning to steward silence. Silence creates space for reflection, evaluation, and recalibration. It protects you from reacting prematurely. Even Scripture records moments of silence before significant transition. Habakkuk 2:20. Silence can be an act of trust, a declaration that alignment matters more than noise. As you progress, discernment will continue to sharpen. You will recognize patterns more quickly, identify misalignment sooner, and respond with greater wisdom. Wisdom is not merely knowledge, it is applied understanding. Scripture emphasizes wisdom as essential for navigating complexity. Proverbs 2:6. Complexity increases with responsibility, making wisdom indispensable. You may feel called to release certain expectations you once held tightly. Expectations can motivate, but rigid expectations can restrict. Releasing expectations allows openness to possibility. Scripture encourages holding plans lightly, acknowledging that direction may unfold differently than imagined. Proverbs 16:9. Flexibility preserves momentum. This upgrade also teaches you how to rest without guilt. Rest is not avoidance, it is renewal. Renewal sustains effectiveness. Scripture models rhythms of rest as essential, not optional. Exodus 20:8-11. Ignoring rest leads to depletion. Honoring rest preserves longevity. You will encounter moments when faith requires action without reassurance. Assurance often follows obedience. Acting in faith despite uncertainty strengthens trust. Scripture affirms that trust grows through experience, not theory. Psalm 34:8. Each step reinforces confidence, preparing you for subsequent steps. Your sensitivity to alignment will continue to increase. Misalignment will feel heavier, more noticeable. This discomfort is protective. It alerts you when adjustments are needed. Scripture describes peace as a guide, ruling decisions, Colossians 3:15. When peace withdraws, recalibration becomes necessary. You are becoming more intentional with your time. Time is a resource, not an enemy. Stewarding time wisely enhances productivity without exhaustion. Scripture encourages redeeming time, recognizing its value, Ephesians 5:15-16. Intentional use of time aligns effort with purpose. There will be moments when your obedience challenges others' comfort. Growth can unsettle environments accustomed to your previous version. This tension is not your responsibility to resolve. Remaining faithful to direction matters more than maintaining familiarity. Scripture shows that obedience sometimes requires leaving known environments, Genesis 12:1. Departure can be an act of trust. You may notice a growing desire for integrity in every area of life. Integrity aligns private and public identity. Consistency builds credibility. Scripture affirms integrity as foundational for stability, Proverbs 10:9. Without integrity, growth becomes fragile. As your journey continues, you will encounter opportunities that require discernment to accept or decline. Not every opportunity aligns with assignment. Discernment protects focus. Scripture encourages testing direction rather than assuming alignment, 1 Thessalonians 5:21, saying no wisely preserves capacity for what matters most. Your understanding of faith is maturing. Faith is becoming less about certainty and more about trust. Trust remains steady even when clarity fluctuates. Scripture defines faith as confidence in what is hoped for, assurance about what is not seen, Hebrews 11:1. This assurance anchors you amid uncertainty. You are learning to celebrate small victories. Small victories accumulate into significant progress. Acknowledging them nurtures gratitude and motivation. Scripture records moments of remembrance as sources of encouragement, Joshua 4:6-7. Remembering reinforces faith. As influence grows, accountability increases. Accountability protects integrity. Scripture emphasizes accountability as wisdom, not restriction, Proverbs 2:7-17. Inviting accountability strengthens growth rather than limiting it. You may experience renewed compassion for others navigating similar transitions. Compassion emerges from understanding. Understanding deepens through experience. Scripture encourages bearing one another's burdens, Galatians 6:2. Compassion extends influence beyond personal success. This season also invites you to refine your listening. Listening requires patience, humility, and attentiveness. Speaking less creates space for understanding more. Scripture emphasizes listening as wisdom, James 1:19. Attentive listening enhances discernment. You will encounter moments when perseverance feels costly. In those moments, remember that perseverance is producing something lasting. Scripture assures that perseverance will be rewarded, not wasted, Galatians 6:9. Holding steady through fatigue strengthens endurance. Your confidence will increasingly rest on alignment rather than achievement. Achievement situates, alignment sustains. Alignment produces peace independent of outcomes. Scripture affirms peace as a marker of right direction. Isaiah 26:3. You may notice that your vision is becoming clearer, though not complete. Partial clarity is sufficient for movement. Complete clarity often arrives incrementally. Scripture reveals direction progressively, not instantly. Psalm 19:5. Trusting partial clarity sustains progress. As you continue, expect moments when gratitude flows naturally, unprompted. Gratitude becomes reflexive rather than reactive. This reflects maturity. Scripture encourages continual thanksgiving as a posture. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Gratitude anchors joy. There will be times when you must choose between speed and sustainability. Sustainability ensures longevity. Scripture values endurance over haste. Proverbs 19:2. Choosing wisely preserves strength. You are becoming more comfortable with uncertainty. Uncertainty no longer paralyzes, it invites trust. Trust transforms uncertainty into expectancy. Scripture affirms trust as a source of stability. Psalm 112:7. As layers continue to unfold, you will recognize that this journey is ongoing. There is no final arrival, only continual alignment. Growth continues as long as willingness remains. Scripture speaks of transformation as ongoing renewal. 2 Corinthians 3:18. You remain in motion, attentive, responsive, aligned. Each step prepares you for the next. Each decision refines your capacity. Each moment of trust strengthens your foundation. The path continues to unfold, not rushing toward conclusion, but expanding through obedience, patience, and faith, inviting you to keep moving forward without finality, without closure, without pause, as the process itself continues to shape you for what is still ahead, drawing you deeper into alignment, deeper into trust, deeper into purpose, as you continue walking onward into the unfolding journey that remains open, active, and unfinished, still revealing itself with each step you take and each choice you make as you remain willing to continue. And now, as this moment draws together what has been stirred, let it settle not as inspiration alone but as decision. The upgrade before you is not a distant promise, it is a present invitation. You are not being asked to become someone else, but to fully step into who you were always being prepared to be. What has been forming in silence, strengthening through resistance, and refining through waiting is ready to be carried forward with trust. Accepting this is not about striving harder, but about agreeing deeper, agreeing with truth over fear, with promise over memory, with direction over comfort. As you move forward, let faith remain active, let obedience stay daily, and let humility guard your steps. The path will continue to unfold as you walk it, light revealing itself step by step. Psalm 19:5. Strength rising as you wait and move. Isaiah 40:31. And peace confirming alignment as you trust beyond what you can see. Philippians 4:7. Receive what is being released, steward what has been entrusted, and continue forward with confidence rooted not in certainty, but in faith, knowing that the one who began this work is faithful to carry it onward as you keep walking, listening, and responding in trust.